Shabbat Shalom. This week's Parsha, Tzav. What's going on in the Haftorah? Well, it comes from the book of Yirmiyahu. Why are they picking this one? Well, in the Parsha, it's talking about the Karbanot, and it's talking about the sacrifices of the animal sacrifices. So here, let's see what the Haftorah discusses in its portion that we read. What's the connection? We'll see. Where did it happen? Yerushalayim. When did it happen? Right before the destruction of the temple. Let's say about 2,700 years ago. Next. What is the story? Well, Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah, is the prophet. Yarim Yahu, God is going to lift us up. Remember, back in those days, parents would name their children with the name of the deity they worshipped in their name. Chizki Yahu. Chazak is God. Yirmiyahu. Yeshayahu. Bunch of Yahoos. So, when you see yahoo.com, where do you think the word Yahoo comes from? Yud K, Vav K, that's the Yah part in Yahoo, the English word. I'm not saying the holy name of God. And who? He is the one. Wasn't Baal who, wasn't Asherah who, wasn't Molech who. Okay. So we know we're Jewish people by the names that we have. Yirmiyahu lived to 52. Navi, Yerushalayim, miserable. The king wants to kill him. Nebuchadnezzar is what he was told by God to tell the people that you should surrender to the king of the Babylonians. Now, we're reading this happy Haftarah? Not exactly. Let's see what we're getting into over here. So the Haftarah starts to go on about, go ahead, bring a ton of sacrifices. Why? Because God is not taking these people seriously anymore. They're ceremoniously bringing these things, but it's not heartfelt. God is saying, I don't need people to just go through the motions and they come in and it's sort of a social gathering. This is supposed to be not just connecting to man when you go to synagogue. You're supposed to sin deity. You're supposed to connect to God when you're here, not just other men and women. So now, what was going on? They were bringing these sacrifices that were to Molech, one of them that is mentioning, that is detestable. And what is the problem with this thing? Well, they brought this, if you look at Ir David, just to the side of Ir David, you hear the place Gehenom, Gehenom. So now you say, go to Gehenom. But what did that word come from? Well, it's not one word, it's three words. And what is it? The valley of Hinnom. What was in the valley? There was a place called the Tophet. Tophet means drum. Why? What happened over there? This valley was the garbage dump of Jerusalem. Garbage dumps, like in the good old days in Manhattan, you had incinerators. There was fires burning all the time. So now, how did that get connected? Because the fires were burning, and like you say, go to Gehenna, it's like go to H-E-C-K. Sorry, rabbis. What does that come from? Is that the fires were burning, so that in a Christological way, that you think that place is where the fires are burning. It was. Why? Because they used to worship Molech. It was a pagan deity. It was a bovine casted furnace that they would pour coals and wood into the belly, this hollowed out belly of the Molech. It's all coming together. And they believed that the way to worship a deity, the pagans, was if you give of your firstborn, the deity will grant you more children. It was an honor to offer up your firstborn. What is the tophet? Is the drum. Why? They would bang the drum so the parents wouldn't hear their infants in the Molech. Exactly. It's a horrible thing. And this is what they used to do. And they used to pick on us. The Molechites used to say to us, hey, what do you offer up to your God? An animal? A cow? A sheep? A lamb? Big deal. We worship the real God. We worship Molech. We're willing to give our children to Molech. It was a very painful religion to observe. So God is saying, this is not normal. You people are not doing normal things with Molech. And he says, this wasn't only pagan. What happened in the time of Yirmiyahu is they went kablooey in Jerusalem, and the Jewish people had a syncretic observance of multiple deities. They were covering their bases. They were hedging their bets. Well, I'm going to worship Hashem, but I'm also going to worship Molech and Baal and Asherah, because they're all fertility goddesses and they're all agricultural goddesses and war goddesses and all of that. I want to make sure that I'm covered by all the gods. God said, this is not acceptable. I'm the one God. You don't want to pick me? That's okay. It's not okay, but we'll deal with it. But stop doing multiple gods. This is not acceptable. It even says that they would dig up the bones of the Molech and pagan deity worshippers, whether they be Kohanim, Nevi'im, Leviim, priests, Levites, prophets, Israelites, and that they would leave their bones like the Zoroastrians left the bones for the vultures to eat. You wouldn't have the dignity of a burial. So Yirmiyahu is coming out very, very harshly. In the Torah, we learn the way to do things. The Haftorah points out the way not to do things. And if you want to take anything away from the Haftorah, is the next time you overhear somebody say, go to Gehenna, which is not nice, you'll understand where it was and what was going on there, and that maybe you could change the bad energy into positive energy by reminding them that that is no place for a Jewish person to go. Shabbat Shalom.